Ron, we're standing on Avenue L. This is where it all happened earlier today. If you look down the street past that police blockade, you can see it's taped off. That's where investigators are still trying to piece together everything that happened here tonight. Police say Sergeant Chris Brewster arrived to the street before 6 o'clock responding to a domestic violence call. Police say a woman called 911 saying she was being assaulted by her boyfriend who had two guns. When the sergeant showed up, police say he was shot from down the street by 25-year-old Arturo Solis. Police say the sergeant gave information that he had been shot to other police officers and gave a description of the suspect who fled the scene. Solis was soon arrested nearby after police say he'd been hiding and jumping fences.
The entire incident has been captured on body-worn camera, and what people will see is a coward that took the life of a hero.
Earlier in the evening, we saw a woman who was handcuffed at the scene, then taken off in a patrol car. Police have not identified her or said what connection she may have to this case. Now, police believe that the suspect ditched one of his two weapons somewhere here in the neighborhood. They are saying that they are continuing to look for that other gun late into the night. They're asking all the neighbors out here to stay indoors until tomorrow morning. We're live on the east side. Standing for Houston, I'm Matt Doherty, KHU 11 News.